I finally started using cutting machines. So I mixed creosote with redstone to get lubricant, and then did that with some different things to start making rods and bolts. Also realized that the best smelter I can make is just the simple create one. So that's just this little machine here, not very complicated at all. That's a brass funnel, and case fan, and a little um, water wheel. The only hard part is the attribute filter here. So with the attribute filter, you have to put in stone. Now that can be smelted, and then you want to leave this allow on, because what we want is it if it cannot be smelted. So we add the opposite attribute, and then it cannot be smelted. Now glass is a little special because it can be smelted still. So we have to say yes if it is tagged glass, then that's done, because I did want some glass out of this. And also the same thing with stone, because you can make smooth stone as well. So I set this up to just make it into stone, not smooth stone. Simple as that. All you gotta do is put it in the top chest, comes out the bottom chest. Easy as pie. Show you here with some sand. Put it in there. You see it's down in there. And boosh. It's already out. It's already glass. The last thing to do is just cap this guy off so that we don't fall in lava. And we're good to go. This was the steam furnace. I went ahead and got rid of it because the furnace we just made is better. So we don't need this anymore. And had to duke it out with the little guy that got in my way. I'm starting to become less apologetic about that. Steel upgrades are a must. We need gears and rotors, and we've done all this stuff of making the different plates and that. So I'm not really trying to dive into all that. To be honest, it's a freaking mess. I did so much making plates and making things. I had no plans. I just kept doing things, and I was playing the game, not actually, you know, recording, if you will. But upgraded the compressor to steel, upgraded the macerator to steel, which is all fine and dandy, and kept making plates and rods and all kinds of different junk. And honestly, I hated every second of it. It just felt like a job. And I can't wait until we get to the stage of where that isn't the case. Um, but that right there was the large steel or large steam macerator. That is a huge upgrade from the other macerator. Yeah, controller goes in the middle. Pretty simple design here. With these special little pipe things in the middle. But overall, it's a very simple little machine that I should have made a little bit ago. But c'est la vie, here it is. Valid and active. Just give her some chests on the front so that we can do input and output easily. And I use this thing a lot. A lot. This thing is very good. Don't forget that you need a steel input or output in order to get this thing to work. At least that's what it took for me. I couldn't get it to work without it. So, and it increases the output anyway if you put, or it increases how fast it works if you put a steel input, output, fluid input, whatever. As long as one of those things is steel, it doubles your efficiency. So that's great. Had to do a bunch of different mining of different stuff in this part. This is just showing that it was a grind. Added fluid input and output to the steam blast furnace, I believe is what it's called. So that we can take our crude oil or whatever the heck, synthetic oil. We can take our synthetic oil, put it into the steam blast furnace, and get out synthetic oil. Is that what it's called? I'm about to find out. Yes, synthetic oil. No steel's coming out, which means that it's prioritizing the synthetic oil in the background. That's all good. I needed something else for making this rubber. I'm trying to get to electric here, and I went ahead and made the steam mining drill. Now, the steam mining drill is pretty simple, actually, pretty easy to use. Basically, it gives you the ability to silk touch any ores with just this drill. And you use, you have to put water in it, grab some fuel, and right click on the steam mining drill, and it's got fuel now. And then if you shift right click, you can switch between silk touch and not silk touch. Now we want lignite coal ore here, so we can get out sulfur so we can make rubber. So used it up. You can see that it has like a timer, like because the fuel obviously lasts for a little bit, and then you can run out of water. Now I don't know what actually happens when you run out of water, but I didn't want to risk it. I didn't want to lose my steam mining drill, so I stopped a little early. Anyway, then we can take that lignite coal ore and macerate it. Oh, also there's my iron from earlier. It makes like a yeah, whatever that stuff's called, whatever that crummy stuff's called, and then you macerate that again to actually get the dust that you want, and the sulfur, which is pretty good stuff. And then I went looking through the recipes. They used lignite coal because I was just curious. I found asphalt. And I was like, asphalt sprint? And so naturally I went on a little I was like, well, if I can sprint with asphalt, then I should do that. And so I started just breaking my floor to get the speed boost of asphalt. Even though I really don't need this. It was fun to do, so I did it. We took our oil, put it into a mixer over here. Then it will mix with the sulfur dust to create synthetic rubber. And then synthetic rubber with paper then makes rubber sheets efficiently, like really efficiently. Ignore that bucket. That bucket was a mistake. It's synthetic oil, and yeah, it's basically just unfortunate that it exists there. um, but in the end, I end up using this one mixer for both synthetic oil and rubber because it prioritizes the more efficient recipe. Yeah, I'm getting plenty of rubber sheets. I get tons of rubber sheets out of this, even though I did it super inefficiently. Um, and that actually ends up becoming useful once we get to the electrical stuff. You do need a lot of rubber sheets. So I progressed past this point, but I really, really hated all of this. So I eventually made a wire mill to start working on this. I didn't understand any of this stuff, but I was like, well, we need copper wire, we need resistors, we need inductors, we need, it was like all this junk. And it's just like, oh my God, what are we doing? We put wire back in through the wire mill to make fine wire, make the resistors. It's like, had to get gold so we can get gold plates for the capacitors, analog circuit. It's just so much junk. Then you had to do tin as well because you get into these other quests here with all these motors and um, robotic arms and all this junk. And honestly, I want to do this all over again because I actually understand why we need this stuff now. But I think whenever I did my circle there, I was like talking to myself. I was like, all this feels like so much. Like it feels like so much to do all this junk. Um, and it did. It felt terrible. But I just kept pumping through it and doing the things. And eventually we got through making all the different junk that we needed in order to in order to make, like, look at all the steel needed for this piston. It's like, okay, so I need a ton of steel. It did recommend making 2 of those blast furnaces, but AFKing it kind of helped a lot in making plenty of steel in the future. I guess I haven't AFK'd it yet, as I'm making this stuff, so it probably felt even more expensive. But yeah, eventually made all that stuff for that quest, which is all very important for making the electrical machines. I kind of brute forced my way through the electrical machines, and that was probably my problem. Here I am setting up for dumping in a bunch of iron and coke dust to just mix up and then automatically pipe it over to the steam blast furnace. Pipe it over there and just make it so that it makes the steel dust, goes over to the blast furnace, and just make a ton of steel because it's obvious that we're gonna need it. Again, don't forget to blacklist these, or I think I actually chose to grab the steel and whitelist it over here because then I can mix other things in there instead of just the steel. But and as a reward for the item pipe that I just made for piping that over, I got this warp plate, which is pretty cool. You just put it on the ground, you get out a little attuned stone, and then you can go to wherever, place it down, and it'll make another, or attuned shard, sorry. And then you just put the attuned shard into whatever place. So it's only like a back and forth type portal, but it's just cool that it's like a plate on the ground. And I had the thought, I was like, I wonder if I can do this in the void dimension. And spoiler alert, I think in the future, I'm going to use the void dimension for these machines simply because I am really not enjoying being down here and like in this cavern. Don't need that attuned shard anymore because it's based on location. So anytime you break it, you can get a new one and place it. So those attuned shards are for those specific locations. But overall, we're getting the thing done. AFK'd the steel. Didn't get as much of it as I could have because my boilers ran out of fuel, of course. I didn't think about that. Took all that steel and doubled it up so we could process it quicker and hopefully get out of this slump that we're in. That was the main reason why I AFK'd for steel, was I was just like, we need stuff so that we can make stuff and not be constantly grinding for every resource. And then I realized that there's this steam quarry here, or steel quarry, or what? No, I think it is steam quarry. So I go through the process of making that. Also upgraded my boilers because make sure that I got enough steam. Got plenty of steel now, so going kind of crazy with it. And lo and behold, I'm working on making these quarries and all that stuff. And my video corrupts here in a bit. I get through making the actual quarry, but all the other pieces are not there, which really sucks. Really sucks because it's a lot of steel that goes into making those quarries. Here it is. It's done. You have to make bronze drills right there in order to get the resources out. There's different drills you can use, but these resources all come out with the bronze drills. Now, I thought about calling that an episode because really that was quite a bit of work, but I'm ready to move on past these machines. So instead of trying to cut together all the stuff that I did, I'm just going to break it down for you. First things first, we just got this steam quarry going, right, in the video. Well, I tripled it. I made 3 of them, purely because it's the easiest way to get resources. It just passively does it. So I've been using this stuff too, and it still is pumping. It's pumping out stuff. Need to make more drills, which is kind of tough. Moved my boilers together and gave them a barrel of dust so that they can't run out of steam. I also made this buffer of steam, which I'll probably get rid of, but I wanted to move the creosote tank so that I could have space to make these machines, which are simple machines. Like, it's just cutters, and this one uses a compressor as well, but it's just that you can put ingots in the top and it'll go through here and make your rods, bolts, whatever. Rods, bolts, and rings. It's just more machines, really. Nothing too crazy. Over here did some item pipes to make some plates, so you can mass produce those. And also curve plates. Battery alloy. My method for getting antimony was very simple. I used some of these StaTech coins, which you get for completing quest rewards. I hadn't used any yet, and so I got like a stack and then used the macerator to make more and made it into battery alloy so that we could then get working on electrical. Now, the point of doing all this was simply so that I could make the electrical machines easier. Now, it says to make assemblers, and I did, and I regret it, because what I do whenever I want to make something. So let's just do the next one. And never click the quest book whenever you're in the calculator. It crashes your game every time. Next thing that I want to make anyway is the electric macerator. So I just went ahead and added that over here. We put the electric macerator in. Make sure you're on the inputs. Go here, save. Now you can see what we need. Now, I did make it. I added the recipes for steel plates and all the different plates. So then in the steps tab, it kind of shows me better, like, exactly what I need for each one. Now, if you can skip steps, so like, say I can go here and just make steel gears. Yeah, I can. Needed 3 steel gears. All of a sudden, boosh, a lot of stuff's gone. I assume that I actually have most of this stuff. And in here, if over here you click calculator widget enabled, then whenever you're in your crafting, you can actually see this on the side and you can move it around to wherever you want. And then this determines if you have it on you. So there's a chance I don't have enough copper wire here. Oh, I don't. This is a good chance to show you the beauty of electrical machines. So if you put in something to get processed, as it goes, it becomes faster and faster. So the more that you're doing at a time, the faster it's going to get done, which is pretty sweet. But yeah, I just go in here. I need more plates. And craft my stuff from here. It's like, oh, I need 6 capacitors, 6 capacitors, 6 resistors, 6 resistors. I think I actually have redstone batteries. I need a steel machine casing, so make a steel machine casing. 3 analog circuits. Which requires another one of these. I don't know how I lost one, but it's fine. Can we make the basic machine hall? No, we need 10 cables. Which means we need 10 wire. Okay. It's still not perfect. It's not perfect, but at the same time, it's simpler to me than the assemblers, because the assemblers, you still have to process the stuff down into whatever you need and then put it in there. I'm trying to get it set up for drills right now, because if I could automate making drills and then have automatic, basically like easy to make resources always, that would be incredible. But macerating these and processing them into an ingot, and then finding a way so that I can more bulk do stuff so that I don't have to constantly be making a few of everything. Instead, I can just make a lot and not have to worry about it. Make the Invar rotary gear, make the electric macerator. So, and then for all these setups, they're just individual machines. I haven't really done anything that cool yet. I think next episode, that's what I want to work on, is like making this setup not just manually doing every step. And that's going to require more resources and the ability to process them faster. Basically, it's just going to be more machines. And I think I'm just going to do a lot of electrical machines to get this done. I mean, I guess this spot's open. Put a wire on them. And then I put 2 chests on the back. And disconnect this. Set that to out, blacklist, and then automatically extract, and make sure to set that front side to be the one that it extracts to. And now anything that we want to macerate can now happen in there. I'm actually going to make that this netherite barrel, because dang, it takes a while to mine a netherite barrel. And let's actually go as far as to make it 2 netherite barrels. So then in this macerator, you can put, let's do a lot. A lot of a resource in there. And this will speed up to max speed, pumping out as much of this as it can. And basically it'll just make us a lot faster at processing ores, which is something that we really need. But look at how fast it's pumping now that it's at max speed. So all this gold is just gonna boom, 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 get out of here. So yeah, with this, we're now set up to mass produce a bunch of ores and then use those ores to automate actually creating things so that we don't have to manually, or even just mass produce more stuff so that we don't have to worry about every little detail as we do it. I don't know the logistics quite yet, but what I do know is that I'm going to love being able to just dump stuff in here and it just be done. So, sorry for the messy episode. It just became a lot to do all this stuff and then like cut it down, because it was like 12 hours of playing this game, and I don't want to say I only got this far, because I mean it is a lot, don't get me wrong, but at the same time it feels like even though we spent all that time, we didn't really make any progress. We're just doing the same thing, just in a different way. And maybe that's part of it until we get to some ME and things like that. But if you guys did enjoy, please hit a like and subscribe. Hopefully in the next one, we'll have a more structured setup. Have a good one.